Good morning, praise God, I woke you up this morning, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you guys are all well. This is our painting that we created, and I say our because this was a social engagement piece. Um, so for starters, I decided to pose for this piece because I wanted to implement as many things that I have never practiced in my work as possible. So I've never actually drawn from reference. I've used a reference, but as well, but when it comes to, okay, I'm spazzing. Please bear with me. Please bear with me. When it comes to actually painting said reference, like, yeah, okay. I've used myself for position as well as far as figures. Why do I keep wanting to say as well? Goodness gracious. Um, I use myself for positioning, but never for like facial details. Like, no, I was actually going to paint myself, which is like kinda uncanny valley, but I mean, it's actually me. So does it really qualify as uncanny valley? I don't know. It just kind of really felt like it because it felt like I was immortalizing myself. I don't know how I feel about that. Or I might try to make it look less like me. Looking back on this piece, I low-key might change the color of the body, but that also would defeat the purpose of this being a social engagement piece, and I cannot change anything without you guys' consent. And stay tuned for updates on this piece because I actually might do a giveaway. Or, no, wait, better yet, I could do a raffle. But I'm getting besides myself. So the brassy undertone that you see me applying to the canvas was some medium that I'm going to be using to help me do an underpainting. This is the planning of the underpainting. This is how the coat looked after I finished doing the planning. And this is me going in. I decided to go for a brassy tone because this was typically used by artists during the Renaissance period, which I've been feeling very Renaissance inspired, not just because it's like, oh, well, these are some of the best paintings known to man or anything like that. It was just more so I'm having a rebirth of myself. I'm now feeling more feminine, more secure in who I am, more secure in who I am as an artist. I wanted to explore more things. I definitely love long, flowy hair. Just adding to that mystical element while also showing just how beautiful everything God created is. So, yeah, I'm really accentuating the things that I find that are beautiful. And, yeah. So, I am painting, well, technically drawing lines with some dark brown paint to help add the shadows and highlights. That's essentially what underpainting is. It is a lot harder than all of the artists on my timeline made it look. I never did it. Well, aside from that one assignment in my freshman art class, and that was because it just took forever. I was still really new to painting with oil paint, and I still really am because I've only been really painting for a year, and there's lots of things to be learned. I mean, I have vision and I understand art as a whole. I've been drawing since I could pick up a pencil, but painting is a whole new area of uncharted territory. So I'm taking things day by day. I'm adding some light colors. I wanted it to look washed out, but then the time constraint started to really get to me. So I went ahead and started filling some things in, adding the highlights where I wanted them to be. Um, and I went back to the drawing board and started planning things in color. My digital planning is being done in Procreate. Uh, Eventually, I plan to move to doing things in Adobe as well. But for now, digital planning is going to be happening in Procreate, which is very easy to use. I believe, I think it's $12 now. Um, definitely a good purchase. It's a one-time purchase, and you can also buy brushes for it. So yeah, it's definitely really good to use if you're trying to get familiar with doing digital art, which is something that I'm not trying to be as fluent in, but it definitely makes things easier when you're trying to test market different tones and get the quickest result possible instead of putting all of the work in when it comes to the physical labor of actually painting over things and redesigning stuff and then having to go back because you changed your mind, like I did in my first project theme. If you haven't already, please go check out the video. I know it's a really, really, really long video, but my goodness. Lots of useful information there just on the do's and don'ts of painting and what I learned from that semester long experience. Um, yeah, so I wanted to add a little bit more of where I'm from into this piece. Since it already was me that I was painting, I never painted a landscape before. So I thought it would be neat to include some cypress trees because if you're new around here or you just haven't had the chance to find out yet, I am a resident of Southeast Louisiana. So all my Louisiana people, let me know what's up. Um, and cypress trees are very common around here. I always grew up seeing them. I think they're really beautiful, and they definitely have their own mystic element to them. And what better way to personify realism than painting something that I actually know what it's supposed to look like? I've seen it, and I've also have an attachment to it. Funny thing about this painting, there is lots of history packed into it. Firstly, I painted myself as a fairy nymph, a water nymph to be exact, which is inspired by one of the more famous nymph pieces, probably the most famous one. I'm probably gonna butcher his name, but I think his name is Hylas and the water nymphs, and so like they took him and they seduced him, but that's not the point of this painting. It was because it was placed in like this little swamp, this shallow water, and I thought the water was just such a really beautiful reflection, and that's what inspired the dark hair because nymphs, water nymphs I've seen from across the board, they're typically naked. They have long flowy black hair and they are beautiful. So I was like, okay, I have the beauty. We can add the hair, and I also wanted to go in with the polyphemus moth. My pronunciation is not the best. And funny story, I actually seen this moth not that long ago when my boyfriend came down here. I took a picture of it, so yeah, it was really, really beautiful and very surreal, honestly, from my moth a day thing that I was doing, which I plan on getting back into. But yeah, here you can kind of see some of the brassy undertone coming through. I didn't want to completely cover all of the red because it adds that glow again. This was my setup, and this was the final piece. I hope you guys appreciated that. That was a lot of information. And now I'm gonna go take a nap, and you do too. So as always, stay blessed, be blessed, and peace.